Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Aaronica from Aaronica Be Cool & Co. And this is where we center plus size bodies, that and more. But let's get into today's content, okay? So, what are we talking about today? On the video that I went ahead and I did the first hack of one of my patterns, someone asked me, they were like, hey girl, could you actually just kind of give us a rundown of all of your patterns so that way we can support? And listen, I'm here for it. I'm 1000% here for the people who are like, I want to support you, so just show me how, make it easy for me. So let's talk about a couple of different things that I offer, as well as a couple of different ways that you can support me as not just a content creator, but also as a pattern designer, fashion designer, all of the above. So if you're like, wait, what are we talking about here? Let me rewind and reintroduce myself a little bit, okay? So again, my name is Aaronica Cole, and I am a sewing influencer, pattern designer, fashion designer, small business coach, as well as blogger, old school blogger. But how did I get to where I am today? So, in let's see, like how far back should we go? Let's just go back to when I left corporate America. So in 2015, I'd been a mom of two. At the time I had a 5-year-old and a 6-month old, or rather an 8-month old. And I was just like, you know what? I don't really want to work in corporate America anymore. When I was on maternity leave after having my second child, I saw that I could make money for myself as a blogger and a writer. So that's what I did. I left corporate America and I became a sustainability and mommy blogger. I was known at the time as the Crunchy Mommy, and underneath the Crunchy Mommy, I won a couple of awards for sustainability and parenting websites and stuff like that. I loved it so much. In that time, though, I was also actively sewing. Now, I learned to sew when I was like 6, 7. I started out hand sewing like many kids do. And not to date myself, but also to give you a little bit of how old I am. My first thing that I was making by hand were Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. Why? Because that was what was big at the time. So I was hand sewing. My mom put me into a class when I was 13 to learn how to sew with a sewing machine because I kept deconstructing things in her home. And she was like, girl, like, we got to stop doing that. Like, can we please go ahead and, I don't know, learn how to make things versus you tearing my house apart? So I did. I learned how to sew and I hated every single moment of it. We learned how to make a drawstring backpack and I was like, wow, that was like really lame and a really huge waste of time. I hated it. So now when I teach, I definitely get excited about teaching things that people actually want to use or will actually wear. Um, Cut to where I am now. This is not ever what I thought that I would have made a name for myself in doing. Why? Because yes, I've always sewn, but we don't live in a world that is very friendly to fat people. And that was really why I started sewing for myself. After I had my second child, I just simply could not lose the weight. I found myself really fighting and going to the gym, working out, eating right, but I was a breastfeeding mom, so I couldn't cut too many of my calories and still have a milk supply. But it was something that I just could not lose the weight. So I started to focus more on creating clothing for the body that I had versus feeling like I deserved some kind of punishment of not having things that I like to wear because I could not lose the weight. So that was why I really started sewing. At the time, those LuLaRoe leggings were really big. And it was like the mom uniform was like some kind of flowy tunic with a pair of leggings, and you looked put together. You had this fun fabric and it was great. And I was just like, yeah, but I'm also not about to be spending $30 on some leggings, right? So I learned how to make them, and thus began my journey. But again, this was not my full-time situation at all. Now, when I left corporate America, again, it was 2015, I walked out. And at the time I started a shop, the Crunchy Mommy shop, and I have my crunchymommy.com website. And I was making these Ankara or African wax baby harem pants, and they were selling like hotcakes. One, I did not price myself well enough so that it made it so that it was worth my while. And then two, they were also hella cute. But it really burnt myself out because I was the only one who was sewing, and I would have all of these orders. And I was like, I actually really hate making these now. So I dropped that part of the business. But then I got into indie patterns. So I fell in love with the idea of being able to make my own kind of modern day patterns and things like that. And I fell in love with Patterns for Pirates. And that was the first company that I ever started pattern testing with. And they are still a company that is near and dear to my heart. And I will often be making and wearing patterns that Judy, who is the owner, has created. So where am I now and how did I get there? So I am a pattern designer. I design patterns for Made for Mermaids, which is the sister company of Pattern for Pirates. Pattern for Pirates is owned by Judy. Made for Mermaids is owned by her older sister, Megan. And I actually started out as a promotions manager with Megan for Made for Mermaids, which I loved because I was like, yes, this is right in line because I do marketing. So Megan had actually approached me and was like, hey, would you want to design patterns? And I've taken a couple of pattern drafting courses, and I was like, I mean, I could, right? But at the time I was like, just because people say that they like the things that I make doesn't necessarily mean that they'll like the things that I design. So I was like, well, I'll think about it. And around that same time, I had started modeling for Mimi, aka the one and only Mimi G. Also, side note, I have always been a huge Mimi G fan. And you know how when you meet people you admire, a lot of times you can be faced with disappointment because you're like, you mean to tell me I was excited to meet this person? Well, I didn't experience that at all meeting Mimi. Mimi was definitely for me worth the hype. She is someone who is super cool, really down to earth, gives excellent advice, and is overall a really dope person. So when I started modeling for her, she approached me with the KnowMe Patterns and was like, I would love for you to come on and be a designer. First of all, I was floored because I was like, how is it that the person whose style I admire most is like, girl, I love your style? And I was like, me? And it was in fact true. It was me. She did like my style. And I was like, wowzers. But I started to design for them. And then at the top of, we are in 2024 now, at the top of 2023, I started to actually design and draft. And I say that on purpose because I don't draft any of the KnowMe patterns. But the patterns that are mine for Made for Mermaids, I both design as well as draft and grade those patterns. So where am I now? So now I design for KnowMe Patterns, which of course is part of the Design Group of America. So along with McCall's, Simplicity, New Look, Berta, Vogue, all of them, right? So you can find my patterns on simplicity.com that are with them. You can also find them in Hobby Lobby. You can find them in, of course, Joann's. You can also find them in different pattern or like sewing related shops that have ordered them to house them. So there is that part that I do. I also design and grade specifically for Made for Mermaids. So if you're like, well, what patterns are those? I promise we'll get into that soon. Okay. So what patterns are mine from KnowMe? So let's get into it. We're going to go in order from published date. So starting out with ME 2005, this is my first pattern that I dropped with KnowMe, and it features a tapered leg pant that is a higher waist that has a flat front with an elastic waistband, and it also features a sweetheart style long sleeve top. This can be color blocks or it can be just one color. I love this. This is a pattern that I'm getting ready to drop a hack for as well. How to make this into a summer style by we'll save it for the hack. So this is my first pattern. My second pattern with KnowMe Patterns was this one. And so I designed this bustier because I just don't see like bustiers that are like plus size friendly. And then I never see skirts like this that are plus size friendly either. I love a good thigh moment, and I feel like thick thighs saves lives. So why not celebrate that? Also, I loved making this bustier. It was hands down the most challenging project that I had done to date. The second that I was able to get it and replicate it multiple times, I felt most accomplished as a sewist. This is something that I think is really important because it's a great piece. Both of these are excellent pieces to have in your wardrobe. This skirt can be made out of like a thicker knit and has the same effect. You can do something that is dressier or more casual. I love this. My goal in designing my KnowMe patterns was to, in essence, create a capsule wardrobe that if you purchase all of my patterns, you can actually create, hack, and have the wardrobe of your dreams. So this was my second pattern, and this is ME 2015. My third pattern, and this came out in spring of 2023, was this pattern. Now, your girl apparently loves a sweetheart style, sweetheart lines. Look, I have an aesthetic. I don't know what to say. So this featured both the options to make your pants or shorts, as well as to have straps or strapless. Now, this is also a fun top that you can either color block or keep it the same fabric. This is actually the same Robert Kaufman fabric, just different cuts of the same fabric, which I absolutely loved. And then, of course, you've got the option to do straps here. After that was summer, y'all. Your girl was on the cover in a swimsuit. So this was summer of last year, so summer of 2023. I wanted to have a more vintage feel for the cover up. This can actually be hacked into being a wrap dress as well. And then this is the swimsuit that features a deep plunge. This can be worn as a bodysuit as well as a swimsuit, of course. Then after that came my fall 2023 pattern, which is ME 2050. This features a color block option, a belt, as well as the option to do some like a fun neck piece. Now, y'all, I didn't know that people were funny about things around their necks. I mean, look, if you love it, I love that for you. If you don't, I'm sorry. So you can omit this around the neck, or you can add that drama. I love the deep V. The fit of this dress is one of my favorites, which is the reason why it was the first hack that I did. You can either have it in a midi length or a above the knee. I don't feel like it's a mini length, but it's definitely an above the knee length as well. This is an easy hack. I've hacked this into being, but it also has facing. So I hacked it into having a band, a neck band. I hacked it to omit the sleeves. I've also done a hack where I made it just into the top and the skirt separately. This is a really great pattern, lots of versatility. So then after that pattern, that was fall of 2023, we have spring of 2024, and that is ME 2072. Y'all, this was fantastic. Now, if you guys are like, babe, is there a trend with showing off your boobs? There is. There is. For those that don't know, I had a double mastectomy June 5th of 2023. These photos were the last photos that I took of myself with my natural born breasts. So this pattern for me is near and dear because these were the last photos that I took with them. These photos were taken. I had expanders in my chest, and this here is super cute. So we have, it's a deep V, yes, but also the back. And let's see if we can get in close here. The back has such a great option as well. This is a pattern that you cannot wear with a bra, unless of course you're like, I actually don't care who sees my bra. I'm gonna make it fancy, and I love that for you. I really do. Okay. So this here, it also features the option to have some non-functional, purely decorative buttons right here. We have the option to do it in a dress with a an additional ruffle, or you can do it as a jumpsuit. The jumpsuit is super fun. It has a very wide leg pant. And to make it get on that waistband, you have to do a gather. no pleats. But of course, if you're like, yeah, I actually really like the look of pleats, by all means, baby, pleat it out. Okay. So this is something that is a really fun idea. You can hack it into having shorts. You can do because of the volume of the pant leg here, it's going to be a really voluminous short, which is super cute, very sexy. I love that as an option. Same thing with this skirt. Instead of adding this additional tier, you can omit the tier itself, or you can just go ahead and bring this up to be a mini skirt showing off those lovely legs, okay? So many options with this here pattern. On the shoulder itself, there is the option to tie it up, or you can go ahead and let it loose, and it is kind of like a little cap sleeve situation. My most recent pattern, which is no, I'm sorry, it's not fall, it's summer 2024, which is this overall pattern as well as this belt bag. Now, your girl has recently got into bag making. As you all saw, I shared pictures of a bag that I most recently made. So I wanted to add this here because I thought this would be just a fun option to add because I like to make bags as well. So I love an overall. Yeah, I wore these overalls the other day, and I didn't know that it was going to be my overalls that brought all the boys to the yard. But I wore it. I was getting gas, and we all know gas prices are high. This man stopped me and was like, I can put gas in your car. I can pay for your gas. And I almost, you know what I'm saying? If I was not so in love with my husband, although my husband was definitely like, girl, you could have let him put some gas up in that car. Like, don't play. Cut it out. Like, you could have absolutely done that. But super fun. I love this. Definitely plan on actually hacking these to be shorts that are kind of like a culotte short. I'm super excited about that. So we've got that hack coming. Now, I know that you all heard me say that I also design as well as grade my patterns for Made for Mermaids. So let's get into those. So the first pattern that I ever did was the Callie, affectionately named after my oldest daughter. And it is a halter style dress, and can be made as a crop top, full out dress, or I'm sorry, mini dress, as well as midi length, as well as a maxi length. So we've got options galore. It also features a shelf bra. And I think that this is something that can be dressed up or dressed down depending upon, one, of course, your accessories, and then two, of course, your fabric options. Because it is drafted for knits that have four-way stretch, there's a lot of options that are out there. This is something that is easy to hack because I actually hacked it with my second pattern, which is the Aurora, to be my New York Frocktails outfit. And I'll see if I can find a picture of that to include in here as well. My second drafted as well as designed pattern was the Aurora, affectionately named after my middle child. And it is a jumpsuit because she loves to wear jumpsuits. It features a fitted top with a loose bottom that can be made into shorts of a 3 or 4 inch inseam, as well as a cropped pant and a full length pant. You can either have a strapped option, which have like a spaghetti strap, or you can do a strapless option. Both options come with a shelf bra added in to offer you that support so you don't even need a bra. My third pattern that I drafted as well as designed is not the Presley, it is the Primrose Puffy Sweatshirt. I love a little dramatic sleeve, so we pleated out a dolman style sweatshirt as well as added invisible pockets to that garment as well because I love a surprise moment, okay? I also designed as well as drafted the Presley skirt. It is a pleated skirt, and we all know that pleats are very in this season, so you should be buying that ASAP and making it. Get your tennis core, aka your pickleball core, on completely with that, okay? Right now, I am testing a new pattern. It's not going the greatest, but it's called the Kenya dress and top, and that will be dropping hopefully soon. I'm hoping that it will drop in my birthday month. So those are all of the patterns that I do have. Now, in my Substack, if you're like, girl, what is your Substack? My newsletter, my paid subscribers also receive 4 patterns per year. So they have already received a pattern for the wrist and headband for like your beauty routine so that you don't end up with water dripping down your wrist and so that you can protect your hairline for whenever you're washing your face. Up next, we also do have a pattern for the bog coat that I made that people asked me for. I also have a bag pattern that I am in the process of readying for that group as well. Now, if you're like, hey girl, how else can we just support you? Your views on any of my YouTube videos mean the world to me. So, watching them in their entirety, letting them run, sharing them to other people, commenting, liking, all of that is so means so much to me. And also to any creator that you support. We appreciate that. If you happen to see any affiliate links within my captions, I also greatly appreciate you using those. And finally, of course, on my channel, one of the things that I do offer is membership. One of the things that I'm going to be adding, because I know that in the main or like on my regular channel, there are ads. I will begin to upload my videos without ads. You will have a say in some of the items that I do so longs for, that sort of thing. And of course, I tried to make it so that it was a negligible amount. So that way you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm paying too much per month. So those are all of the ways that you can support me as a creator, as a designer, etc. It means so much to me that that was even a question that was asked. So yeah, these are how you can support or how you can find me. Also, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have made it this far, make sure that you have subscribed to my channel so you can know when I go live, so that you can know when I drop new videos. And yeah, that is it. I hope to see you all on the next video, and always feel more than free to drop me a comment or a suggestion if you're like, hey, I really need help with insert XYZ. Someone said they wanted a video that was on lettuce hems, and so they got a lettuce hem video. You never know what I have going on as far as content creation. So with that, I will check you all later. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you all so much for your support.